Welcome to the LANCave, where we're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen.
Do you feel abandoned?
A little bit. I feel a little sad and abandoned, as if there's no hope of a certain game ever coming out.
Not gonna
we
lie
have some
to you
thoughts.
folks. This week's news is not like the cheeriest. Like I was looking at our little rundown, and it's like, man, I feel like we're gonna be ragging on some stuff. And I feel a little bit, but I did throw in that cool story with Phil at the end there.
Yeah,
So.
we give you some positivity in here. We try to be positive people. We talk about gaming news. If you haven't hung out with us before, we talk gaming, nerd stuff. We ramble, do our thing. Star Wars stuff.
I was about to say, dude, that anime looks sick.
And I was getting some flashbacks, Animatrix style.
Animatrix, bro.
That's what I was thinking. I was watching it because it'd been described. We knew that what we're talking about is Star Wars Visions, and we knew
we're talking
that.
about Star Wars Visions, by the way.
Yep. So we knew that essentially they'd handed this to seven studios in Japan to work on the animation. I want to say it's 7 studios, 9 stories, or what have you. And as soon as I saw that, I thought, oh well, that's very similar. Animatrix, which was 4 studios, but was really cool. And watching Star Wars in anime, it was just a great pairing. The wonder of both, the anime art form and Star Wars. I loved it. And I love the difference in style, and the trailer was just expertly edited as well. I'm all for it. I lived.
Yeah, I was trying to look up like a list of the people that were like an easy, like they did this.
I didn't get. I was thinking about getting a rundown, but yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not really like, to be honest, I'm not like great. So there's gonna be 9 episodes, 7 studios. Can I get just like, why would not somebody just put out like a super easy like list? Oh wow! And the English dubs: Lucy Liu, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Neil Patrick Harris, Allison Brie. All right, Simu Lee. I'm not gonna get his name right. Simu Liu, I think. That's a pretty great cast.
Yeah.
As well for the dubs, which I'm a dub kind of guy, so.
I can appreciate both. I watch a lot of. I mean, I can appreciate both. I watch a lot of subtitles. I think both of us do for various reasons. I watch a lot of stuff in that's subtitled, but I like dubs, especially for games. I know that now we're getting games that have Japanese audio, that have English audio, both of them. For games, it's a definite, like, I need to do a dub. But for anime, I could go either way. I think there's certain nuances with a good dub that work really well.
Yeah, but especially if you're like dubbing dogs, and so like if you're watching, like, say, like a Homeward Bound or something like that, you need a good dub, right? You can't just watch like the 2 dogs and the cat run around. You have to have the likes of like Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
You know,
how's your new dog, by the way?
She is pretty good. Coming into herself, still a little shy around the house because she's like 2, and so I don't know how often you adopt non-puppies, and so it's a couple rescues. The energy levels like a little bit different because they're a little nervous and stuff. So she's starting to come out of it a little bit. We're starting to see some rambunctiousness, some chewing on some things that maybe she shouldn't, but so far though, super friendly to everybody. That's the important part.
Good. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what's going on in the other room on that. Hold on.
Mailman, Amazon delivery, somebody looked at him the wrong way.
I don't know if it was our neighbor.
Let's play a game of Dog Pyramid.
He's getting more confident. So that's my 1-year-old. You've got a 2-year-old. He's getting really confident. So the problem with having one as a puppy is, you really have to shape them from them not understanding anything of what we expect and just what is natural for dogs. What you're dealing with is will be more of like, what has her history been like? What has she been taught?
Yeah,
I'm assuming she's housebroken and all of that.
kind of. Yeah, she does
Kind
pretty
of, yeah.
well.
I mean, well, with a new dog, like there's always that adjustment period. But
Yeah.
we do talk about video games here. By the way, speaking of the Star Wars thing, real quick, I did get the list real quick. For this is the list of the studios per episode. And I admit I did not recognize the studios, but if we do a little Google foo there, we can.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like, where's the list of like what these people did to like kind of give people reference who don't know? Because like Kamikaze, Duga, I don't know.
I don't, but again,
we'll probably just gonna fumble that anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say we could go to another podcast, or we'll probably do it even if it wasn't for the show. We'd probably look up and see like what these studios have worked on in the past. So I'll probably do that and talk about it next week.
Just for funs.
Yeah, just for funs. I mean, we were gonna do it anyways. But yeah, I was happy about that, and I got to play some Diablo 2 Resurrected this weekend.
Nice. You were playing that demo.
Yeah, which is exactly what I wanted. I played about 6 or 7 hours, and it's exactly what I wanted. Yeah, it's a healthy. So it's like I need to get all the Diablo in before I lose connection. Which a lot of streamers have actually been complaining that they're tired of the open betas between this. What was it? A New World or what have you? Like all these different betas that are coming out, and it's exactly what I wanted. I'm playing this on Xbox, and I need to check. I believe it does support keyboard and mouse on Xbox. A lot of things do on Xbox. But honestly, the controller was good. It's exactly what I wanted. It's Diablo 2, but prettier, right? So, and I realized as I grabbed my stream, I always have my mini map over me, but it does let you toggle it being like off to the corner or over you. I'm just so used to the traditional Diablo map is like superimposed onto you, which does
really.
Yeah. Do you usually get off the side or like?
Yeah, like I mean, probably. It's been a while since I like really did like some raids and stuff where like you'd be like just speeding through dungeons like that. So it's really actually hard to say what I did. I don't remember now that you like just straight up ask me.
I mean, I had fun. I mean,
you were rolling a warrior.
So this is the barbarian. Just because it's easy, it's straightforward. Where I could like, I've played the game quite a few times, but I thought if I play something straightforward, then I can concentrate on like any differences that I find or things that I like. Just basically, it's a ton of quality of life and improvement. But it's still Diablo 2, which is exactly what I wanted. Like if they did this engine, the way that it looks and everything, and they did Diablo 4 looking like this but a new story, it would be perfect. It's the game is wonderful and now it looks prettier.
I will say, interestingly, because it's available on Game Pass, if you didn't know, they have like all of Diablo 3 available on Game Pass. I did download that. I haven't played it yet. I have some things to get to. I still haven't gotten to my 12 for 12. I did that thing. You know what I do. I beat like a 30 or 40 hour game and then I just play nothing for like a week or two. I finally did install at my wife's request because she's really into Roman stuff. I bought the Forgotten City. And she started playing that yesterday. If you didn't know, you ever heard of this?
I didn't. I just downloaded the trailer to Switch.
Okay, so the Forgotten City is it was actually a former Skyrim mod that somebody made, and then that this team, I think they even say at the beginning of the game like how many people made it. I want to say it was like 2 or 3. So they broke it off and made it its own standalone game. Still handles and feels very like Skyrim, so I don't know how they did that in terms of like maintaining the rights to the game and like breaking that off, fully voice acted. And basically you go back in time to this like Roman city that's like underground or something like that, and you're in a Groundhog Day type situation.
Okay.
Kind of, where like if you mess, it's basically you're trying to solve this mystery, and if you mess up the mystery, you can restart.
Gotcha.
And like and you have to like run away before you die, otherwise you kind of have to like go back to your save. So I'm basically just watching her play that, which is me counting that I'm playing that. So that is game number 51 on the year so far. It's fine for me. You know, I can tell she digs it and stuff. There's a lot of mythology. There's a lot of history stuff in there. They're referencing things. There's Latin written on the walls. There's things like that she digs. There's definitely like the costumes and the architecture, like a lot of stuff. You know, it's one of those things where you know how it goes. Your wife's like, "Oh, that looks cool. Oh, okay, purchase."
And I'm like, yeah, purchase is anytime if it's something that she wants to play. Yeah, 100%.
The moment that she's interested in a game and she's like, "I think I would like to play this now." Okay, I buy it.
You're like good. I already bought it.
Yeah, it's literally like, okay, I'll have it downloaded, and she's like, I want to play this now, and so I bought it, and it was already like close to bedtime. I was like, okay, you can play it tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's already there.
I will say, like, I do that a little preemptively, where where something like where I think that she'll like a specific game, so I'll go grab it and download it, and then she'll be like she won't be in the mood because she's worried that like I'm trying to like pressure her into it, but then eventually she's like, oh, I like this game. Man of Medan is actually that. We played that this weekend, and that's for my 12 for 12.
Nice.
And
I didn't know she was a horror person.
She is, yeah, she's a horror person. She likes the horror movies, but video games not so much. And I think it's because it can be too immersive. It's too close to home, where when you watch a movie, you're removed from the situation, and the game it can add the stress. So she doesn't get stressed watching horror, but playing a horror game she does. And this one doesn't stress her out too much. But I'll talk about that a little bit later on. Are you doing your 12 for 12 this week or next week?
No, like I was saying, like I did that, I did that thing. I beat Skyward Sword, and I literally haven't played a game. Like I played a little bit of the Islanders on Switch, here and there, and I played a little Pokemon Unite. But since I beat Zelda, I haven't played anything. So you're welcome to Man of Medan it up, and then hopefully by either in the next week or two, I'll play some. I already forgot the name of the game I'm playing. It's by the same people who did Man of Medan.
Until Dawn.
That's it. Okay,
yeah.
I would have got there whenever I started scanning my hard drive.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Wait, speaking of horror games, though, we had some news about a certain game called Abandoned, and I was apparently my our video's messed up here. I'm going to fix it, but while I'm fixing video, you can see this is the trailer of the game, and or I should say, this is the live experience that we're supposed to sit back and enjoy, I guess, which is part of the drama that we're going to talk about as I fix this. Instead of doing a trailer, the idea was, it's going to be this real-time experience, which in interviews they basically said, that's because you're going to get it fully rendered on your PlayStation as opposed to compression on YouTube. I'm an AV nerd. It doesn't. Most people don't see that compression, and this 4 seconds of video is a joke. I'm sorry, especially after the drama leading up to it, where they're like, "Oh, there's a patch coming out. We got to fix it. There's a patch." And Digital Foundry and others are like, "There's no patch. There's no patch notes. You have to submit this to PlayStation. There's nothing." And the video demonstrating in real time is this. But I'm not
yeah. Have you read into the backstory, the things leading up to what this was or wasn't?
I did a little bit of that, a little bit of homework.
Like a little bit of just like a little quick rundown. Did we actually talk about this on the show? Did we just skip this entirely because it's just been ridiculous?
But we talked about it a little bit. I think we talked about it a little bit, and then part of it got bumped. But this first came out. The rumor was that this was linked to Silent Hill, and
Right.
they were working with Kojima, which is not the case apparently.
And this is like a PS5 exclusive, and most of the time when something is a PS5 exclusive and it was on the PlayStation blog, that generally means that Sony gave them at least some sort of money.
Yeah.
Who knows how much money they gave them. So there was that. There was like a whole bunch of signs that it was like Silent Hill, just based on everybody's like digging and everything. And then it's just, I don't know. At some point it turned for me to like annoying. There's a big flyer going around about the history of this studio. And then what actually happened, I think it was today that I linked to it. Was it today?
There's an interview today, yeah.
So he responded to these things. Basically, there's a flyer going around saying that they're like a scam, and that they've never come out with anything, and that their one game is like not completely whatever. So they've had like some mobile games development, and like basically reading through this, I didn't read through the entire thing. It's a very long form article. It's over on IGN. If anybody's interested, and I do recommend it. Like if you care about this kind of stuff at all, go read it. His name is Hassan Karaman, and I might get the spelling of that wrong, or the pronunciation rather. But he basically was like, we are small, we've had a rough go, we've made mistakes. People saying it's a scam, like he's basically like, that hurts my feelings. I exist and we're real, and there's a lot of things in there. The only thing that I can kind of say is just, the thing that gets me is like, how are you on the PlayStation blog? Like, because that's the reason he has attention. After that, if you didn't know that these things were going to work, like this thing has never been done before, right? Like the map, the app thing, they put out an app.
Correct.
So that you can download it, so that they could live stream or something, a trailer. They could push a trailer to the app.
Correct. Yes.
That's never been done before. So conceptually, that's really interesting. From like, just, you can say like, nobody's ever put out an app for PlayStation or Xbox, literally just to push news updates for your game, right? Like theoretically, what I would think is that they push trailers up until the point that the game comes out, and then the app becomes the game.
I'm assuming, but I don't know. It may end up being, because this is like the real-time experience versus the game, because they labeled it as real-time experience. And I would say, just a slight correction in terminology, they keep referring to it as an app. When you download it on your PlayStation, it's in the games sections, not in your media and apps. So as opposed to an app, because people make apps for PlayStation 5, but it's like Netflix, Hulu, or you have games, like those are separated. It's a game that plays a trailer, like, and I would say similar to like if you're playing a game, like I'm playing Man of Medan, and like I unlock behind the scenes like videos. So it's basically an application that plays a video, but they had trouble with that aspect of it. And then when you look at, first of all, they said it was going to be open world. Actually, this is the wrong one. Sorry, this is the first one. They said it was a survival shooter game. They said that like long time ago, and then they changed it to, it's no longer open world. It's actually going to be linear, and it's about survival. It's not open world. Like there's so many things that are changing. But then there are these statements like, the special thing about Abandoned is that it's a new mechanic, and the way you explore and all of this is just a whole different. This sounds way, way crazy ambitious. It's either ambitious, or he thinks what he's doing is new because he doesn't have a big history of making games. I haven't looked into his history other than the history of Blue Box and their games. Other than that, I haven't seen his history other than him screwing this up. And the timeline you were talking about, this is the thing that's going around saying, hey, they're a scam. We're not saying they're a scam.
I don't think so. I think he just doesn't know what he's doing, which he clearly indicates in there. Like he mentions that we have no experience with marketing and PR. Like there's just a point where I'm just like, just shut up then. Yeah. Like just shut up until it actually works. Like stop saying anything. Like there was like a point where they tweeted out like, are you ready? And that was when the trailer was supposed to launch on the app, and like one of the people that I follow who does a PlayStation podcast, like it was like 20 minutes later, and he just responds, "Are you?" And it's just one of those. It's just one of those. It's just one of those things where it's just like there's just so many times where people can't get out of their own way, and they just keep talking. Just stop talking. Like nobody like. This is the internet. We'll forget about you by tomorrow if you just shut up. And then whenever you have something to show, blow it up. There's plenty of there's plenty of YouTubers, podcasters, us. You know, I'm following Blue Box now for better or for worse. And whenever something pops off, I'll be ready to talk about it. Otherwise, you're just going to continue to be a joke. And I don't like that. I'm not trying to be mean to him. I just think that it's just shut up. That's all.
Yeah, I would say like out of both of us, I'm not like a terribly like pessimistic, negative person, but you try to be a very positive person. You try to like see the light in things and like be like, okay, I'm not.
I thought you were gonna say that Owen's the negative, pessimistic person. I was like, well, that's true. But now I'm like, oh, that's a compliment. Nice.
No, I mean like you try to be positive. You're like, hey, I don't want that to be having the negativity. We can naturally react to things and be like, be pessimistic or like Debbie Downer kind of situation, but like overall, like you try to be positive. So like when I
try to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Sure, yeah. And when I was putting together notes and like doing some research on it, I was thinking like, I don't want to trash these people the whole time, and I know Owen's not going to want to trash people like the entire time, and I definitely don't want to do that. But I think you're right. I think that you have a team that and I don't mean this as a slight. You have a team of amateur game developers. They're making an indie game. All this hype got around it, and there was a statement that Hassan made saying that the Kojima's hurt their development. I don't think it hurt development. I think it hurt their from a PR standpoint. It hyped them, it overhyped them, and they were not ready to show. The fact that he said that, oh well, we had to remove video. What do you mean you had to? Like, what was in the was it too graphic? Well, it's not horror. So why did you have to remove video from the trailer? And you said that he says that he knew it was the wrong thing to do because the 4 seconds that's in the app was already on Twitter. So why did you do it then? Like, this is your thing. Unless it was something like controversial or like it was too like it revealed too much, but I at this point I'm like, you have to show us something, or they're going to go into not hiding. They're going to go away again, like they did the last couple times, which I think is because they're having trouble like completing it. It's a small studio. There's a lot of pressure involved. They're having trouble like actually completing it. And when you say things like, I've got a brand new mechanic that's never been done before, and I'm so excited to show people that. And I'm sorry, unless you are Hideo Kojima, unless you are someone like that, where you're like, I've got a new mechanic, that's earth-shattering for gaming. Like people like there's a lot of things that you can do in gaming, but people get kind of stuck in patterns when it comes to game development. If you have something new that no one's ever been doing before, show it. Why? I mean,
so you mentioned that being stuck in games development, and like it immediately comes to mind is Ubisoft, where they've just made like the same like 3 games for the past like 10 years, where it's like Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Assassin's Creed.
But I'm like, I mean, I'm not going to.
But then they put out a Mario Rabbids, and you're like, holy crap, that was awesome.
But I mean, I'm not going to name like the styles of gameplay, but I mean, like you have certain things like it's a new mechanic. Okay, well, you've got like, you got shooters, you got platformers, you got isometric, you got third person. Like you talk about all the different styles and mechanics. What hasn't been done before? And if you have something that's I don't know, like I do mean that, because like people latched on to first person shooters for a long time. People platformers like are classic, but they still work. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is amazing. It's a beautiful, wonderful game, and it still works. What mechanic do you have? The Medium is a great example of like, here's a really cool mechanic that I hadn't seen done in a game the way they did it.
I heard that game wasn't good though.
It's not that great, but
Okay,
like the
but they did
mechanic,
something new.
it's
Okay.
You play both the real world and this like the
Oh right.
at the same time.
Did you see the? Oh, we talked about it I think briefly last week. The Axiom Verge 2. Did you see the shadow drop of that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Did you play the first Axiom Verge?
I did not.
Oh, dude, you need to play Axiom Verge if you like Metroidvanias at
Yeah.
all. Do you like
do.
those at all?
Yeah.
Axiom Verge is genuinely excellent. It's awesome. Probably one of the best, and it was made, music, game, everything made by one dude.
Okay.
And then he shadow dropped Axiom Verge 2 last week with the Nintendo Direct. That game has a parallel mechanic. It took him so long to make that game because he built a 2-layered game where like the game is sitting on top
That's what I'm
of
talking about. Yeah.
another world.
Yeah.
And you can, similar to like Ratchet, where there's like entry points at first into that kind of world type thing, where like there's points where you can jump, you can flip onto the game. But he said that what was so hard was that he built the game as a layer. So whenever you are like, the background is running the entire time, you're in one world.
Yeah.
The other world is
the
like
other world
running.
has to be running in the background. Yeah.
Only because you mentioned that thing with the Medium, because I assume it's something similar, right, where you cross over and it's affecting how that's working.
You affect both worlds. Sometimes you can see both of them. Sometimes you can only see one versus another. And like, but it does switch between. Actually, Diablo 2 does something similar. You can toggle between. But that's kind of a skin, if you will. Like you can toggle between classic Diablo. All of the graphics are the old school 16 bits, 800 by 800 pixels, or 600 by 600 pixels, depending on how you want
pickles.
600
I want
pickles.
some pickles.
600 by 600 pixels versus 800 by 800. Those are your resolutions you get to choose from, and you can toggle between the Diablos you resurrected and old school because it is running, because they're both running on the same skeleton, pun intended on that, where Axiom Verge and Medium are literally running two different things. I'm assuming if you move the character one place, the character's moving in the other world as well.
On Axiom Verge?
Yeah.
No, so the character is jumping back and forth. It's the world is running on a layer, and so both worlds are running simultaneously.
See, that's a cool mechanic. I'm not saying that cool new mechanics aren't being done, but even then, like, we have something we're referencing. I was referencing the Medium. You're referencing games. We referenced Metroidvania. Like, what are you? If you're doing something different, that's cool. I want to see it. And the fact that the trailer was 4 seconds and there's been nothing since, like, I would be embarrassed and be like, okay, I was saving this, but here's a little bit more. Also, in the interview, one of the other things that was mentioned, by the way, and let me switch over to that other thing so I can pop this in real quick. When there are certain things, that are phrased certain ways and that key off to me, and I'm like, that means more than you think it means. This was part of the interview. It says, in fact, we know exactly what it is. Hassan gave us exclusive rundown of plot details, how it plays, and everything you could ever want to know. He gave them details.
Did they talk about the details?
They didn't talk about them. They just said it wasn't. They didn't talk about them, and they didn't see it. He talked about it. He told them what they're telling us, and they're not telling us anything. I feel like he's a passionate guy, but like he has not. He didn't even tell them. They were interviewing him, and he didn't even show them anything, because they could have said, "We've seen it." You can say that, just, "Hey, I've seen it. It's cool," but no.
This game's never coming out.
If it comes out, I will be very happy for them. But yeah, at this point, I don't think it's going to come out.
I and I hate saying that kind of thing. It's just a thing where it's like, clearly you at least know something. Like, you know how to do something. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to get something from Sony. You wouldn't have been able to show up like on the blog. Like, they're not stupid over there at Sony. They like to advertise things that they expect to make them money.
Yes.
And so they expected this thing to make them money. And honestly, even with the negative hype around there, we know that all press is good press. And whenever if it ever does come out, it will make some money just because people are that curious. Like, even if it is review bombed to hell, it's probably going to sell some copies just because people are like, all right, let's see what it is. But I don't know. I just don't understand why this guy, who nobody's ever like worked with or heard of, really, like, okay, go work at a studio, like build like a resume or something where
or like I have a friend of mine who's like, he's been working on a game in his spare time for like 5 or 6 years. Been
cool.
Heartstrings, like doing
something like
really
Unreal,
cool.
or
it's I'll have to double check. I think it's in Unreal. It's a RPG called The Witch, and he's been working on it. It's a 2D 3D RPG. I can't remember the term for it, but
2.5D.
Yeah, the characters are 2D and it's like in a 3D world, but he originally was going to be all 2D, and he's kind of switching that mixed media. Fully
could be RPG Maker too, I guess. But
yeah, and like, but he's been doing it from the ground up, and he made some changes. Like, it was going to be 2D, and he realized, like, oh wow, it's actually 3D is not as hard as I thought it was going to be, and it would make it look a lot better. So he had to like redo a lot, but literally has a voice cast going on. Like, he's written a ton of it. He's doing the music as well. He's a great musician as well. And I'm like, cool. And I can't wait to play that game. I know it's going to take a long time because it's him, and he's literally like, he works. He has a big boy job. He does this on the side, and he's paying artists. He's paying people to help him code because he wants to get it done. That's cool, and he'll show stuff every now and then to be like, hey, I'm still working on it, I'm still alive. But like, that's really, it's hard for you to do. And like I said, Ben's been working on this for over 5 years, and I've seen way more from him that looks better than this. And other small studios.
What's he putting it out
on? Steam. I think he's going for Nintendo Switch as well.
Cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't checked in a while.
You tell him whenever he puts it out. LanCave will be happy to play it.
Yep, we will. So upcoming JRPG, looking here. So it is on Steam. I think he's trying to get it on Switch, but I'll have to double check. Controller support, all that kind of stuff. Like,
he's got a website and everything. Cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Ben's cool. So
that's a cool sprite.
Yeah. So, So shout out to Heartstring Studios on that. Like, there are people who are doing it, and like, if he did not work for a game development company, to my knowledge, before this, but he taught himself, and he's rocking it. So like, more power to you if you can do that. Just like, you have to put up or shut up at this point. Like, Blue Box has worked on 4 games in the past 6 years, and if you're a large
it's come up with like one of them where it's like early access.
One of them's early access, then got pulled. That's as far as they've gotten, and they fully funded a Kickstarter game, which isn't out either. So, yeah, if it comes out, I'm curious. I want to check it out, especially after all this. But at the same time, I think we're just gonna not hear from him for a while, or he's going to get picked up and someone's going to help fund it to actually get it off the ground, whatever it is. But I wouldn't, if I was a multi-millionaire billionaire, and I could sweep in and be like, hey, I'll give you $5 million, just finish the game, I wouldn't do that, because I've seen nothing to tell me like, I want to support this.
Yeah I don't know. And before we start dunking on a much larger AAA game, I'm going to turn my lights
I had
on
to warm
since
up a
I
little
look
bit.
since I look like I am in a 4-second trailer.
You
That
do,
is
yeah. Well, yeah, we had to warm up a little bit before we actually start. We actually start with the big boys. Like, but seriously, all in all positivity, we don't want the blue box to go away. We don't want Hassan to go away. Like, it's just when you're this far and if you got that much hype, either say, "Hey, I ain't got it," or or show us what you got. They didn't do either. Cyberpunk should have waited until about maybe this time this year.
sound on that trailer. Sound on the trailers.
What I was going to say, sorry.
Still sound.
There we go.
There we go.
Cyberpunk should have waited, by the way, for this long to actually launch. It is now no longer in the top downloads for PlayStation. It was on the top. It's completely fallen off the charts, and you spotted it's $10 at Best Buy.
Yeah, dude.
And you know what?
Physical only.
Physical only, $10. $10 with the new patches because they've
just buy it
quite a bit. Go grab it. $10. I think it's worth it for $10. I'm personally waiting.
I still haven't played it. I bought it for $30 in January because I was like, who knows when it's going to be $30 again. All I would have had to do was wait 8 months because I still haven't played it yet.
We do
because
that all the
I'm
time,
waiting for the PS5 version.
Same.
The CD Projekt Red did say free upgrade, so I'm just like, all right, I can wait. I don't care. Like, you guys bomb this so hard anyway, but I've heard, like, if you like Cyberpunk, like, the main story is cool, and it's just the side quests are all, like, not fleshed out and stuff.
Yeah.
All those things are fun, but I think that it got listed on PS4 after being gone for, like, excuse me?
Yeah, I think it was gone for 5 months, 6 months.
No, it got delisted in November, and then got relisted again. Let's see.
June.
It was relisted in June.
It was that long.
Yeah, June 21st. So we're talking like it was off the digital store for 8 months. It did hit number 1 for a second, and then just plummeted again. I mean, it's not sad to me because they initially sold like 11 million copies of the game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they've made the money, but the problem is that if you have a game, if you have a single player game, right? If you have a single player game, which is what this is, it has to have staying power. If you have a multiplayer game, it has to have reasons for people to keep playing it. But I played 3 hours of it when I got it in. I want to say I got it in January as well. And I played 3 hours of it, and I had a lot of graphical glitches. Nothing was game breaking, but I had a lot of graphical glitches. Like creating my character when I was switching hairstyles, it would just add that hairstyle on top of whatever I'd also whatever I'd looked at before. So every time you looked at a hairstyle, it would just keep adding it and didn't remove the previous hair. So if you add long hair and then you add a fro, you now have long hair clipping through a fro. And it just kept adding, like that kind of stuff. And the only way to fix it would be to shut the game down completely, turn and start it again. That was in January. I've heard that things have been fixed, but I'm waiting for the PS5 patch as well. And I think a lot of people were waiting for that. I think a lot of people purchased it because they were like, cool, I've been waiting to buy it digitally. They bought it, and that's it. It's the same people who were going to buy it digitally that didn't get to. They may or may not be playing it, or maybe they bought it like we did in anticipation for playing it on PS5, and they're just going to hang out and wait until it comes out on PS5. Like they have their digital copy. So we're talking about new purchases. They're not getting new fans. There's not word of mouth saying, "Hey, it's really great now." People are saying, it's fine," but it's not. And this is a game that I really wanted to play. I've heard people say that the main story is good, but that's it. It's not like Fallout where, the main story is good and the side quests are just as good. Or Witcher, who's made by CD Projekt Red, who the side quests are great, and it's a living world. I'll play it when the PS5 one comes out, but I feel like they're their notes on the patch that got released this week, I think that they almost were waiting for a lull because they don't have the PS5 version ready. So they were trying to give something to players. There's a free respec. So if you've played the game and you want to jump back in, like, you can apparently respec your character. So that kind of thing where they're trying to entice old people who played it for a little bit to actually come back and try it again. And try to get that word of mouth going. I just feel like it's not enough. I feel like this is a Duke Nukem Forever situation. That
it's not that bad.
That's how I feel. Like, except Duke Nukem didn't get the continued like support.
I mean, it's not only that. Duke Nukem didn't sell 11 million copies,
no,
dude. Like, you know how many games wish they sold 11 million copies? Like,
yeah,
that. It's not Nintendo status or anything where you're like Animal Crossing selling 30, but 11 million copies beats like a lot of Sony exclusives. I mean, whenever you're talking about like the pantheon of like Sony stuff, you're talking like what, like Spider-Man was like 15, God of War was around 15, Uncharted 4.
I'm talking about like the critical reception, not the numbers. Like, people spent that much money on it, but was it a good game? And how did people feel? Did it have the staying power? That, like, Twilight made a lot of money. But seriously, come on, is it? I'm not trying to dislike, but I'm just saying, like, it made the money. But people, how many of those 11 million people didn't play it? Like, you didn't play it, you bought it to get ready, or they played it for like 4 or 5 hours and they're done. Like.
What's so funny about that is, so the Twilight movies recently came to Netflix, and the day that they came out, they owned like 5 of the like top 5 spots on streaming.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Just for like some reference here, one of my favorite games of last year, a game that I love so much, Final Fantasy VII Remake. 5 million copies.
Yeah,
it more than doubled a much better game, in my opinion. Like, that's what sucks. And you know, and I know what it is. They built up a bunch of goodwill with Witcher 3, and it, like, I've never seen anybody that is up like at the pinnacle like just drop so hard outside of like professional sports athletes. Sure. I feel like that happens. Like, if you watch a little UFC or something, right? Conor McGregor is a joke now to me. Like, he's still wildly entertaining. I'm a little tired of him because Well, no, we're talking about in his realm. Every one of these professional athletes would mop the floor with us in their own sports, even 30 years retired. You know, but like, we're talking about a dude who was the best, won 2 belts in 2 different weight classes, held both belts at the same time, and then just fell off the face of a cliff and just started losing consistently. And I think he's won like 1 fight since he had both of those belts, maybe 2. I'm trying to remember now. He still continues to talk all the ass. Like, that's why they keep scheduling him for the big fights, is because he makes them money, which is what it's all about. And CD Projekt Red did that, but
well, if Connor's on the card, people are going to buy it. It's as easy as that. They know that, and
sorry, I don't know if you watch any UFC, but
I haven't watched in a while. I
figure if there was one sport I could immediately point to, I was like, well, Patrick cares a little bit about.
Yeah, like I do. I'm a big fan of jiu-jitsu. Like, I like grappling. I think that it's harder to. It's harder to like see what's going on with those situations, but like, it's that's kind of my thing when it comes to mixed martial arts. So Connor's not one that I'm like, I appreciate what he's doing. I don't understand it as well. Like, if someone's a boxer and they watch McGregor, like that they understand what he's doing better than I do. But like, his break, you saw what happened to his leg in the last. So like, that was just completely unfortunate, like a freak accident during that. But to talk smack leading up to it, to talk smack afterwards,
on the floor with your broken leg.
Well, and the fact that leading up to that, I mean, it's just hilarious. Leading up to that, he said that his opponent was going to leave in a stretcher, and then Conor did, and it wasn't even his opponent. Like Conor almost is doing himself in at this point, and but you're right though. Like if he's on there, people will watch it. The mighty have fallen. How long? How long will people keep watching that train wreck though? Like,
Well, and that's the thing about CD Projekt Red. So it's like a thing where they were at the top. Like everybody was like, they can do no wrong. The Witcher 3 was so good. It was so well supported. The DLC was like a whole other game that they added on top of it. And like the people like were like, this is like the best value for my money, hundreds of hours. And all of that was true. And then they just believed it with Cyberpunk. And it, it was a thing where they just flew too close to the sun and got burned by that. I think that they could probably come back. I still think that they're a top tier developer. I think that they did something similar to Blue Box in the sense that they talked their game up, like that you're gonna have this living world like nothing was ever done like this before.
yeah.
I love the ambition, but it's like No Man's Sky type thing, except with a much bigger team. Like Sean Murray has actually pretty well delivered on what No Man's Sky has. I don't know if you saw how well they're doing. They just announced their latest expansion for free. By the way, their game everything about their game since launch has been updated for free. It's available on Game Pass, by the way. I keep meaning to play it. But that was a 14-person studio that flew too close to the sun and got burned, but then stuck with it. I think that CD Projekt Red is also going to stick with it. It's just these things where it's like, wait, is it the stockholders pushing you? Like, what is it that just makes you want to promise the world?
I feel like maybe it's the stockholders. I don't know. At this point, like they have a certain reputation to live up to. I think Cyberpunk, they bit off more than they could chew. They bit off more than they could chew, and it was an ambitious idea, and I think it was a good idea. And again, we're talking about a AAA studio that did this. If we were, for example, talking about like an indie studio, we would be like, hey, they knocked it out of the park because it was a small studio. This is a studio with a history, and I think that they knew. The question is, like, I feel like I'm quoting what is that, Nixon, that quote, like the question is, what did they know and when did they know it? Like, when did they know that it was going to be a train wreck? I think it was the first time. I think it was before they delayed it the first time. And then fans complained about it so hardcore that they were like, I guess we have to do this.
I don't think it had to do with the fans, to be honest with you.
You don't think that the fan backlash saying, like, release the game, like, that made them release the game earlier than... No.
I think they spent 5-6 years on it or whatever, and as a publicly traded company, you said that the game was going to come out in a certain year, and whenever it comes to how shareholders work, you have to bring the goods. And so I think that was really what it boiled down to, is that they wanted it on that fiscal year to make that money and to get that stock. It ended up biting them in the butt, because then they lost half their value in their stock price, and that's that kind of lesson. Is, you can release a great product, or you can release an okay product and make a bunch of money, but you can release a great product and make a F ton of money. Because I could easily see it if this game was as good, or at least running, right? Maybe if it wasn't as good as it was supposed to be, but at least if it wasn't broken, who knows? Maybe they hit 20 million in sales. Maybe they hit a ridiculous number for that game because it ran so smoothly. Maybe it doesn't live up to the promises that they made. And maybe that's something that they pull a CD Projekt on. They're like, hey, this isn't fully what we wanted. It's still a great game. We still believe in it. We're going to keep supporting it. We're going to make it better.
Sure.
Like, if they had just done that, a year later, delay it another year or whatever, however long, I think they would have made the money back, and they probably wouldn't have lost their stock value.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and that's where when we talk about this is a business. When we talk about the video game, business, and this business side of this a lot, because it's interesting. There's a lot of facets to it, but really we're talking about a business of making art, like Hollywood. The business is to make a movie. What is a movie? It's art. It's art, but it's art that sells. That's what that's the whole idea. Like it's pop culture. It's pop music, if you will. Hollywood is pop music, where it's like, let's make media for the masses. Now we have indie stuff that gets a little better. Same thing with the video game studios. It's still art, and if your product is lesser because you're trying to appease stockholders, you put out a lesser product. That's going to be a problem unless, like you said, No Man's Sky, continue to support it and get it to be where it's supposed to be, because then you get that faith back. The gamers will respect it better because we'll remember a little bit of the history, but people will be like, yeah, but look what they did. Meaning the next game that comes out, like, there's more faith in it. But the next CD Projekt Red, if it's, say, Witcher 4, is Witcher 4 going to bomb, like, based on, like, no, sorry, review bomb, like bomb in reviews, not review bombed, but like, will the reviews be terrible? Will the game not be good, but still sell well? Which is what happened with Cyberpunk. When you have something that that is a good game, it'll have that lasting power. Like, we joke about Grand Theft Auto 5 because it does keep making them money, but like, that game is good. And they released, rumor is, by the way, that they're doing a remaster of 3, San Andreas, and Vice City. I've bought those games like 3 times, and I'll buy them again because those are good games. Grand Theft Auto 5 is that good of a game that I bought it twice. And if they charge for a PS5 upgrade, I may pay a little bit, because that single player aspect of that game is really good. It has staying power.
I bought it on like 360. If they would put it on PS5 for like $10 or PS4 for $10, I'd probably play through it again. Just only since you mentioned Grand Theft, why are they not doing 4, bro? Where's 4? Like, can we get 4?
Oh, 4
like,
remastered? That'd be cool.
Yeah, where's 4? You can't even play 4 like the regular version. You can play 3 right now on PS4.
Yep.
And it doesn't look good. It doesn't handle well. I liked San Andreas as a kid, even though there was like some mechanics about San Andreas that are just dumb. But like, just that, I just remember being a kid and busting it out in the weight room. I buffed my dude. I spent a stupid amount of time just making him like.
And like, if you eat too much like the burger and burgers and fried chicken and stuff, like, you get fat and it affects your cardio. That was really cool. I'd love a remaster of that. Between that, like, I loved the mechanics in that. I loved being able to, like, the way that you could save cars in the game was really cool. And then, Vice has just amazing music. I'd love a remaster trilogy where that gets that quality of life bump. 4 needs that too, because 4 doesn't play well. 4, I would argue 4 never played great. 3 never played great either. But like,
played great for its time. We're talking about revolutionary. Like, 3's revolutionary game.
3 is, yes, yeah. Oh, it really is. I played so much. I played so much of 3. I played 2 back in the day. There was an executable version of 2 that people would like throw onto like library computers in the school, so you could play, because they couldn't find the file because it wasn't installed.
Ours was Doom.
Yeah, we had Doom too.
We had Doom installed on some stuff.
Yeah, so the librarians would like delete it if you installed it, but like, there was an executable like one that people like put in a hidden folder. So if you showed all the folders, you could find the hidden folder and launch it. So the side of the computers that faced away from the librarians, like, we all were around there because we didn't want them to see that we were playing those games. But yeah, when 3 came out, completely groundbreaking. And
the hype. I never got to play 4, and I've just heard great things about the 4, especially the 4 DLC.
Yeah,
like the Ballad of Gay Tony and stuff. Like, I've heard good things, and I never played 4 at all. That was during like my college period, just not playing a ton of stuff. And I just haven't experienced that at all. I went from 3 to San Andreas to 5 was like the ones that I played. So I would probably be interested in a Vice City, that kind of thing. Those are like the hype. Like those are the kinds of remakes that we're getting. We're getting a Ghost of Tsushima director's cut in 2 days, and that game came out a year and a month ago. I still can't believe it. But the hype, I felt a little hype when I saw a tweet from one Xbox P3. I thought this was great. Like, this is the kind of stuff that you love Phil for, man. Yeah. This is what Phil is so cool for, but he's also making me a believer, and he has no reason to really hype this product up other than that he said in the SteamOS browser, which is how it would be being played, that xCloud works well on the SteamOS browser, which is probably like a Chromium or whatever, and so that's probably how it's running. But says the controls feel nice. Everybody has said how weird they look, but I said it, when thinking about how my grip is, it makes sense. It's just not what we're used to. We're used to that cross stick functionality. But if you want
to doing this, which honestly, like my thumb cramps. Like I've been playing a lot of games like the past couple of weeks, and my left thumb was cramping because of being in this position, holding the controller. Like it wasn't like too bad, but it was enough that like it like cramped my joint a little bit, as opposed to this versus this. Like I said, it wasn't too dramatic, but like this seems more ergonomic. We're talking as two people who like work at our desk for a living, so like if you're in that repetitive motion can be a problem. So I kid you not, like I saw this and I went in the other room and told the wife, like, halfway joking, because she knows that I'm considering getting one, but she also knows that like I don't really have a need for it, like other than to have it, and because it's cool, and I'm like, it's really cool, and I can play the game on the thing, and she's like, yeah, but you have other things. I'm like, I know. So I went into the other room and was like, Phil Spencer has a Steam Deck now, and she doesn't know the business like we do, so she's like, who the heck is Phil Spencer? Like I walked in like as if I was a friend of mine who had it. She didn't know.
Phil tweeted, girl, like Phil said the Steam Deck is dope.
Yeah. And she was like, who's Phil? I'm like, he's the head of Xbox. And she's like, shut up. Like she knew. I walked in like as if I knew him, and I was it was that jealous.
Like, hey baby, don't be looking at that credit card statement around January. Mm-hmm. It might be like a $600 like purchase.
Whoopsie. It may happen. I'm considering it. He's got the little carrying case there, which
comes with it comes with it.
Oh, it does. Okay, cool. Because
it's part of the package, man.
Okay, well, come on. So that's like $50 right there. I mean, come on.
Yeah, the custom valve thing that they built for $2 in a sweatshop somewhere comes with the.
But like, I have one for like my Vita. Like, I've got one for that. I've got one for the Switch, which is the Zelda.
I just have one for my Switch.
Yeah, I got one for the Vita because. I figured I'll be traveling with it soon, and or like it just makes it easy to like just kind of zip it up and have it, and if something like piles onto these, I feel like if I accidentally put something on top of it, like I don't know. But
there's things about this tweet that are interesting to me that scream Phil's looking to make more deals, right? He says xCloud works well, so that's one thing. But this is a thing that I've been talking about recently on the side. Mm-hmm. Tell me what you think of this, and I may have even already mentioned it on the show. Mm-hmm. The Xbox app on Windows sucks. It's terrible. It makes Game Pass for PC like almost not worth it because it's just annoying. Like, you don't get full access to the copies of your games. You can't mod them like you can a PC game. It's literally like they put this like shell of a game on your system. So let's say Steam Deck is good. Mm-hmm. Let's say xCloud is cool. But let's say we make a SteamOS Xbox thing, or we take it a step further, make a deal. Now, they're not going to give you the indies that are in Game Pass, but what if Microsoft exclusive games were available through Game Pass, through the Steam store? Connect your Steam store to your Microsoft account. You're not going to get free indies. That's Steam's money. But you can get the Halo Master Chief Collection on your Steam Deck as a part of your Game Pass subscription. Like, is Phil working more angles here, or is it just like, hey, dude, you can promote xCloud through Steam Deck? Like, where's the limits?
But, okay, first of all, linking that the games are going to play, PC native games, because it's going to play this, that version. I'm assuming that they want control, but I'll tell you the biggest reason that would be a huge benefit. And Phil, if you're listening, because I know you watch the show, you got to listen up to this. The amount of eyeballs, right? If you're like, hey, Game Pass games play well on Steam, which means I've launched Steam, it's linked together. Number one, the data between the two, because these two large companies are going to share data between each other, right?
100%.
Advertising. Them eyeballs are going to be now looking at Steam, because you're going to launch Steam because you want to play Halo, and that's the better way to play Halo, because you have that link to Game Pass. You can play the PC version. You bring up Steam. What happens when you bring up Steam? Hey, check out these deals we got. Hey, check out these deals we got. Eyeballs. You're being the money. And then what you do is be like, oh, okay, well, if the only way that I could see Xbox could keep doing it as a loss, because to Steam, to Gabe, that's just a win-win. You mean people are going to log into Steam even more and buy some more stuff? Yeah, I'm okay with that.
All while still downloading Halo Infinite onto my Steam Deck and playing freaking Halo Infinite in handheld.
But what's in it for Microsoft? Do they do it just to continue to gather those the base?
Game Pass subs, baby. I mean, it would be like a modified version, right? Like some kind of like thing where, like, if you're a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, you get access to Steam Game Pass.
That's brilliant.
Or you can do Steam Game Pass for $7.99 a month, because it's only Microsoft games. Because like what Game Pass is, what, $10 if you don't do Ultimate, $15 if you do Ultimate. PC I think is what, $5, and so somewhere in there, like $5 to $10. You can do that version, or it's just one of the many benefits of Game Pass Ultimate, and yet another reason to do that. And then it's like, hey, if you want to fully utilize your Game Pass, well, it's like, okay, we'll give you Microsoft games on the go, no problem. xCloud on the go if you want to play more from the library, but not the indies that are a part of Steam. And then also, hey, you can play the full breadth of it on Xbox Series S or X if you're feeling froggy and you want to get yourself a little console. It's not weird to me that Phil would talk about this. It's just, this is somebody else's product that he's shilling out here. I'm here for it. The fact that he is willing to put his name on it and say it feels good to play, that makes me excited to play. Yeah. He doesn't have a reason to do that, and so he automatically was like, unless the reviews just come out and like the battery life is just awful or something like that, I'm probably keeping my pre-order. Like that, we've already talked about I'm waiting for reviews, but Phil Spencer saying it's good, that's almost good enough for me. And I feel like also Phil is a gamer. Like, Phil plays, and I mean that as, like, because I know people are like, well, yeah, there are people in the industry that don't play games that much, partially because they do it so much at work. They're doing so much playing games for their job that they don't go check out the competition in the way that Phil does. Phil legit, checks out PlayStation stuff. Shu does the same thing. Like, I miss that, man. E3, you remember E3 a couple of years ago? Like, Shu and Phil and others were like tweeting each other. Like, they were checking out each other's booths. They were like, that was really cool to see people doing that. Phil is either doing this out of the kindness of his heart, or he is cooking up something.
that would be an ingenious way to link and to strengthen the PC side of Game Pass. It would be a win for Steam, which is already insanely huge, and for Xbox, it just continues to grow their brand because people are going to go in there and they could buy the indies on Steam, which works for Xbox, but Xbox continues to get them subs. I think it's enough.
What if Game Pass gave you a discount? Like
What
if Game Pass games
That's
what if games that were like a part of the Game Pass library got a like small discount on the Steam store?
10% off.
Yeah, just stupid.
I think
so.
I would,
you know, I said that they should do a dongle, and they started putting XCloud on TVs. I said that they should make a deal with Steam, and so Phil, you know, the ball is in your court, baby. Like you can just. I don't even need like a residual check. If you just want to give me a flat fee for my ideas, that's okay.
Yeah, I just realized I have an Android TV. I wonder if I have the XCloud app because
it's the Sony.
I have Stadia. I haven't even checked to see if XCloud's on there. Stadia isn't bad. It does have a little bit of a lag though. Like
you have the Google Play Store on there, right?
I do.
I think that you can. It's an invitation only thing. I think the last time I checked, and so go see if you can get yourself an invitation.
Yeah, I'll take a look. I mean, like I said, I played some Stadia. Depending on what game you're playing, there are certain games that were fine with it, but I am used to extremely low latency, and it's just enough latency in certain games that it bothers me. And I'm saying that as someone who went from literally playing my Xbox Series X, and I toggled over to Stadia, and I was like, don't like it. But it wasn't terrible. My buddy James, who I work with, like he has Stadia Pro. He plays everything on Stadia, and it's either he doesn't have as much latency, or he's not as sensitive to it. And it also could have been. It could also be I need to do a VPN to something closer.
Apparently, there's somebody who's put out a non-official XCloud app on Android TV, so that's something that you could look into.
I'll check
as well.
that out. Well, funny enough, I actually use a non-official. I use a non-official app on my phone for PlayStation. Yeah, because I can't.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, and it works. It was like, it was a couple bucks.
Is that the one that I found for you, or did you find that on your own?
I think I found it on my own on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I'm always happy to take credit, Phil. You're listening, so.
Yeah. So, but if yes, I'm really considering the Steam Deck, and if I buy it, it'll be totally a purchase of like, I would like to have this. My PC.
It's totally going to be a purchase of we're effing nerds.
yeah, because like my PC plays games better than this, yes, but I can take this on the go.
Honestly, with as much crap that I talked about the Switch, I talked about this with Skyward Sword, right? Like, I talked a lot of crap about my Switch after the PS5 and the Xbox came out, and dude, there's just something about playing stuff in handheld as an adult, and probably as a kid too, but as an adult especially, where it's like, to play a game that my wife doesn't care about, that means she's going to be in the other room and stuff. To play a game in handheld, I get to sit next to her while she does her thing and I do mine.
Yeah.
It was just, I played a lot of Zelda just sitting right next to her, and that was that. And like, again, it was a thing where I was like, man, everything looks so good on PS5 and Series X, and it does. And then I got right back into handheld gaming when it came to playing a AAA game. And so if you're playing something high quality in handheld, that's the key, I think, is just, I don't really want to play all the mobile games like the 3DS type stuff. And not to diss the 3DS, I actually have Ocarina sitting on there waiting to get to here at some point. But it's a thing of, if I'm playing, on the screen right now, Control. If I was playing Control on handheld, like, that sounds cool.
That sounds cool. Like, and also if these, I'm assuming this has a similar sleep function that the Switch uses for when it comes to games. I'm assuming that it does that. I play I play PlayStation and Xbox on my phone, streaming with my Razer Kishi. That opened it up, but playing those AAA games, I'm streaming those on the LAN, but with this, I can actually take it with me. And dude, I'm traveling. I just realized, I think I told you, like, I'm going to be in town in late September. So I'm going to be in town late September. And I'm going to be in St. Louis early September. And then I'm going to be in Mexico in October. That's a lot of traveling during the new Delta outbreak and everything. I'm gonna be careful about it and everything, but having one of these during those trips would be mighty nice, because I'm gonna be away as a gamer. Like, when I'm away like that, I'm gonna be away for 3 days to 6 days at a time, and there's only so much like Switch I can do, and I could play like this and stream off my home connection, but my internet connection is not going to be great in the hotels. So
that 5G ain't up to snuff yet.
So I'm going to be using the Switch more than anything, and then when I get back, it's like, all right, I need to play some PS5 now. So being able to play this, I would be able to continue to bring games. I'm thinking about it more and more. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but it's probably going to happen.
Well, we'll see what I end up thinking if you end up waiting for me to get it first to sing its praises or not.
Yeah, I may wait.
Depending on if you can wait that long.
I mean, I'm saying that I'm going to wait that long because I'm just pacing myself on buying some things.
Sure.
So we'll see if I can wait. What is that, next February?
It's coming out in December. Mine though is slated for Q1 2022. I don't know what the current purchases are at though.
Gotcha. Well, I may take a look at it. I don't know if I'm going to buy it. We'll see. I mean, everything's looking positive about it. Let us know if you're going to buy the Steam Deck. Let us know what you're excited about. Excuse me.
Let us know if you want to spend our money for you.
Yeah, and let us know, is there something we should be checking out that we're not checking out? Are you excited about, like, say, the Amiga Mini or something that we aren't excited about? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.